Welcome back to the Author's Corner. I have author April Thomas here, and I've been looking at her books, and I'm just truly excited. But one thing definitely excited you decided to come to the Author's Corner, because I will be honest with you, we had a couple of bumps on the way, but we made it. We got it here. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, really good. I'm hanging in here, just going with the flow.
Awesome. Yeah, most definitely. But you know what? God had it in the plan, so we are here. So I
Amen.
always, that's right. Now, one thing I've always wanted to start off with. Every author has an origin story. What started your journey into being a writer?
It's actually a really interesting story. I had a friend in middle school. We're still friends today. We actually reconnected recently. Um, she actually was starting a writing club, and I was like, she came to me, and I'm like, I don't know why you came to me, but I don't write. I didn't knew nothing. I knew nothing about that. I had no zero interest in it. I was struggling through science, which is another irony. But she said, just try it. Just try it, because the school told her if she gets a certain number of people, she can have this club. So I said, okay, I'll try it. And I sat there in science class and I wrote a book in that 1 hour. I wrote so much my hand hurt. At the end of class, I ran to her and I was like, oh my gosh, look what I did. She's like, and you said you had no book in you? So that's how it started in middle school. So yeah, it was, and the beautiful thing is that I recently reconnected with her. But I always tell that story about the friend who got me into writing. So she
I
saw
love it.
something, or God sent her. Is how I look at it. Yeah.
I love that. From then on, um, from then on, what kept you on that journey? What kept you on that journey throughout high school?
Well, see, no, now in high school, see, okay, so that was in middle school. By the time
Middle
I
school, I
hit
mean, I'm sorry.
high school, yeah, by the time I hit high school, I had stacks of notebooks, handwritten notebooks and she told me how to format the quotations when people talk. And he said, she said, she's the one who taught me how to do that, the paragraphs breaking up and stuff. So we did it by hand and we would exchange our stories. So my story was actually the first book that I wrote, called Endurance. Back then, I didn't even have a name for it. I had, the female lead's name was Mycelia. Again, I was in science class, so that's why her name was so horrible. And then the male lead, it gets worse. It doesn't get any better. The male lead's name was Med, because I was holding a pencil and it said Med. I was horrible at naming people. I don't know. It was horrible. So and his best friend's name was Ned, because I'm original. Ned. Yeah, it was sad, but very, very sad. But I I wrote out this whole story about these runaways, and I don't know where this story came from. I don't know. I just wrote. I just sat down and I started writing, and it was like I was just writing down what I was seeing. But it turned out to be a really interesting story about this young girl, May, who was in an abusive home, being abused by her stepfather, and her mother was kind of like very, would it be like dismissive or submissive, or like overly, where she just allowed her husband to abuse her daughter, and she would make excuses. But I never went into depth with the original story because I was too young and I didn't understand even why I was writing what I was writing, because it wasn't something that was happening in my life. And I don't know that's why I said I never knew where the story was coming from, but I wrote it. So that was the interesting. But when I hit high school, I stopped because I realized I was writing the same story over and over and over again, to the point where I got tired of hearing about it. I had a whole series, but when I tried to write something different, it's still like I felt like I was writing the same story. So I decided to stop. I stopped for a very long time. I didn't start again until I was in my 30s and I was married.
Mm,
And my sister was the one now. God sent my sister who said, I really believe that you should write a book. And I'm like,
mm.
again, because I didn't learn the first time. And I said, no, no. I don't think I should write it. But she goes, I think you should write a book. I feel like you'd do a really good job of writing a book. And she kept saying this for months until I finally did it. When I sat down at that computer to write, and now I'm writing something different, I almost threw up, like physically threw up on the computer because,
Mm,
and all I wrote was a paragraph, but it was like so many emotions came up that I don't know where these emotions came from, but it, I almost literally threw up on my computer. I got hot and cold flashes. I ran and fell down because I'm trying to like, and I just, so after that experience, I didn't write for almost, I think, I think it was a couple weeks to maybe a month that I didn't write. I didn't even try. And then I just kind of like, okay, I calmed down and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to write I'm going to rewrite my original story because maybe whatever I was writing the content was too intense. The irony is the content that I was writing in that I almost threw up in the computer, that's my fourth book.
mm.
Finally, I worked my way up to it. Yeah, it's my fourth book. But I started with endurance and I just sat down and then I was writing 10,000 words a day. I wrote that book in 3 weeks. And yeah, so
Well, I'm going to
that's
stop you there. I'm going to stop you there for just a second, but I do want to say something before I go into my next question.
mhm.
You don't ever feel like you're by yourself because me and I can probably name 10 other authors besides me and you who've had that same story about the
Okay.
notebooks, the
Yes.
feeling you're getting when you're writing the first time,
Yes.
and somebody said,
Yes.
well, you need to write a book. I had the same experience. So trust me, and like I said,
Good.
there's about 20 other authors who had the same
Good.
experience. So you are
Good.
good. Actually, you're among
Good.
good company.
Yes.
so, so now we're up to the point where your sister told you to write a book. How do we get? I guess my question is, how do we get from writing your first book to your first book deal?
Well, see, I actually after I wrote the book, I did a lot of research and I had decided that I was just going to publish the book privately, like just for my friends and family, or so I thought. I thought that's what was going to happen. Um, because I couldn't. I looked at the options, and I had actually studied J.K. Rowling, and I studied the lady who wrote Stephanie Myers, the lady who wrote Twilight, because at that time those were the two popular things. So I looked at the differences, and I know like J.K. Rowling, she's in England, and at the time they didn't have self-publishing, and so they kept rejecting her book. She had to go back and rewrite, which I think is a good thing when you start to understand why, with Stephanie Myers, she decided to self-publish her book, not for the intention of it to be the main way of getting her book out there. She self-published her book so she had the physical, book together, and she sent that out to publishing companies. But what happened is kids in middle and high school picked up her book and loved it. And that's why her book took off and became movies. So I was like, well, that her past seems a little bit interesting to me. Another thing, when I used to read her website, this is years ago, she also mentioned how her characters she would dream her characters and they would have these conversations. And I'm like, that's crazy because I had the same experience, with my characters. And I was like, oh, this is it. So that was another thing that connected me to her and the way she went. So I was like, I'm just gonna self-publish. So I never went through the whole getting an agent and that thing. And then the other reason was because of my book's genre. I felt that uh major publishers wouldn't be interested, which is another thing that connected me with Stephanie Myers because she was really writing about vampires again, and people were there. They were telling her we're kind of the market is tired of the vampire stories, which turned out to be a lie. because
Hmm.
that's how her, but her vampires glittered so different,
Right. She actually put a twist
but
on the vampire story.
put
So
a twist on it, right? Yeah. So, but I felt like with my book genre that it's so uh to this day I don't exactly know what to put it under. I've recently started pushing it under spiritual warfare fiction, which it's not really a genre, but it is. It's I guess the other term would be Christian fiction. Um, but I've been putting it under spiritual warfare fiction, and it doesn't always exactly fit. But then again, it doesn't fit anywhere else, so it's kind of
well,
complicated. So for those reasons, mhm,
well,
yeah, for those reasons, I decided I'm just going to self-publish.
okay. But I'm just gonna say real quick, that's the purpose of us as authors. We don't necessarily always have to fit a
Yeah,
specific genre or fit in a specific. We can always we create our own words all the time, so why not create our own genre? So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
there's
I love
nothing
that.
wrong with that at all. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
but that sets you up for my next inserted question.
Hmm.
Explain spiritual warfare fiction.
So spiritual warfare fiction, it really deals. It's actually a pretty deep topic. Um, it deals with everyday life and the invisible war. So even though you're getting up in the morning, brush your teeth, going to work, doing all, there's a whole war that's happening that you're not even aware of, or you may or may not be aware of a fraction of it, but not like the full the deep hidden meaning to it. So simple things that may happen throughout your day that you think, oh, whatever, it's just I had a bad day or whatever. There's things that work behind the scenes that is why you had that bad day. You got into this car accident, but you survived. Where you shouldn't have. There's things going on behind the scenes. So I that's what so spiritual warfare fiction to me is kind of bringing that stuff into reality. So in my books I talk about angel I don't talk about angels. The angels are talking. They are characters in my book. The only one I do not talk for is the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. I don't they're not characters in my book. Um I don't speak for God, you know. So, but the angels are free game for me.
I
I
love
have
that.
the Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Uriel. I do the stuff with the angels, but I don't speak for God. So, but yeah, it's just I really feel like it kind of does help open people up to maybe looking at things in a different light. Maybe seeing the purpose of prayer. There is a reason why you do need to pray. So that's what I hope to get across to the readers that enjoy it.
I'm loving that. I
So
definitely love that. So now tell me about your first book.
my first book, Endurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a story. Starts out with May. I'm also a lover of culture and people. Right. I love different cultures and things like that. So May is she's half Asian, half Afro Caribbean. Her father's from the island of Trinidad, and her mother is like she's half Korean, half Chinese. Right. Um, So May is very beautiful. She has green eyes like her father, and she's Asian and black. Um, but her father is murdered when she was about 5 years old, and 2 years later, her mother remarries his best friend. So she doesn't like the guy. She does not like the guy at all. And people would say, okay, well, yeah, it, she lost her father and her mother pretty much is trying to replace him, but it's deeper than that. It's so much deeper than that. So it does come out that the stepfather he has like animosity towards her. He's violent towards her, and it's just increasing. It's gradually increasing as she gets older, and now she's reaching like the age of like 16. It's becoming more sexual abuse. He's starting to touch her inappropriate, and she's asking. the mother, she's went to the mother and told the mother, but the mother again is very, from the original book, the original character was very like dismissive and, didn't really take her, didn't want to deal with the issue. That's really what it was. She didn't know how to deal with it, and she didn't want to deal with it. She just wanted everything to be roses and butterflies and everybody's happy, you know?
Mm.
So May goes to her school. The school again, um, sides with the mother, thinking that she's just being this bratty little teenager that just doesn't like her stepfather and is trying to create problems and is trying to use the system against her stepfather to get him out the house. So
Mm.
in her own house, she is basically treated like the enemy. She's treated like the black sheep, she's treated like the enemy. And so she really reaches a point where she realizes she has nowhere to go to. She has no one to go to, no one to turn to. So then enters Max. He's the male lead. Max he's also he's mixed. We don't really know what his mother is. There's a whole story behind that. I mean, like we don't know. His mother doesn't even know like who her father is. His mother doesn't. Yeah, she was in a foster care system. Long story. Her life is a whole book, right? I need to write, but her whole life is a book. His father and his uncle are they're very well to do. So they're from Trinidad. They moved to the US. Their father had started this technology company and it just blew up the whole family. So like they are billionaires now. And the father he created this continuing wealth for his children and his offspring. So they're billionaires. Max's parents is his father's name is Maxwell, mother's name is Jenna. They're divorced. He's living with his mom and his stepdad and his stepbrother. He, of course, they're living in a small town called Lexington. I made the town up. Small town called Lexington. He's in love with May. He's always been in love with May since they were in middle school. Since the first time he laid eyes on him, he's been in love with this girl. But she pretty much kept her head down and focused. She never paid him no mind. And then he's very handsome, and everybody in town knows that he comes from wealth. So all these girls are always oogling about him. And she's the type that if everybody wants it, she doesn't want it. That's just her. If everybody's, crazy about, she ain't interested. Yeah. So he can never get her attention. So, but he ends up, I don't want to give away too much, but he does end up being kind of like the hero of her life. But he also opens up to her this whole world of spiritual warfare because of his family lineage. They're spiritual
Mm.
warfare, they're spiritual warriors. So his whole family line is spiritual warriors. So that's where they have supernatural abilities, they have all these things, but
Ooh,
he awakens that in her. Yeah. It's a really good story. It's a really powerful story. I love it. I love
I
it.
love I love that. I got two questions. First, before I get the next one, please tell me that there's at least a sequel, if not a series, to this.
Oh, there's a series. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
the series is called the Endurance series. Yeah. I'm in the process of revamping all the books. I'm on the fourth one. But this whole series is there. Yeah.
See, that's beautiful. I love that. So, in all, up to date before we get before we get to currently, how many books do you have?
That's a very good question. I think I keep giving out different numbers because I can't really remember.
Don't feel bad.
I know, right? I'm like, geez, I'm glad they're not my kids because that'd be really bad. I have about Mom doesn't even remember how many kids she has. I want to say I know I hit 20, but some of the books are some are like when it comes to the fictional books, I think I probably about 18 fictional books. Yeah, I think. Yeah. We're gonna go with that one.
Let me ask
But
you a question real quick though. So what? So let me ask you this question because I'm sort of curious because that many books. I know what type. I know I'm a multi-genre, so I write different genres. So what? So what type of genres are they? Are they
so you got
different genres or?
they're different, yeah. So yeah, the endurance series was all I put like under I'll put it under like Christian fiction or speculative fiction or visionary fiction. And then I have a book called Feral, which is actually an erotica. It's not as it's not as I should say it's not as bad as it's not as explicit as others, but it's pretty good.
Awesome.
um
So,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
And
I'm
then I
sorry.
have like mystery. Yeah, I do like a kind of like a spiritual mystery. So I have like my book Demented. That's more like kind of like like a spiritual mystery or supernatural mystery. So like a kind
Okay.
of detective series, kind of sort of. Yeah.
Well, now I want to bring you up to the present and address the elephant in the room because there's a book that I've been wanting to ask about. Tell me about this Rosewood story that's coming
Oh,
out.
Rosewood. So yes, so Rosewood is going to be it's going to be a standalone also. It's the follow-up book to Forbidden. So to explain Rosewood, I actually have to go back and explain Forbidden.
Okay.
Um, Forbidden, I've been working on that book for years. I think it was over 10 years when I calculated it. It was a long time. I was working on that book. Um, Forbidden is about a girl named Amali who she's dating a politician, and it takes place in Florida. So she's dating a politician who basically he claims to be a Democrat, but he moves like a Republican, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. Oh, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying. Trust me.
So, yeah. So they're engaged, and he's his she's a part of his front, his cover, basically, to make it seem like he's for women's rights and he's fighting against racial injustice and things like that. When the truth is, he could care less. He could absolutely care less. She's an investigative reporter. She finds out the truth about him, and you know things go awry. They end up having a really bad fight. He thinks that he kills her, and he has one of his henchmen dump her body somewhere. Right where he dumps her body, turns out to be where there's a hidden tribe that lives in a cave in Florida. So the guy who finds her, his name is Dakota. He's kind of like a night guard, or yeah, a night guard, and he's just overwatching the cave entrance. Him and a few other guys at night. They do an overnight shift, and he sees this man bury this woman, but he senses that she's not dead. Like he senses that something's not right with this, and he's seen stuff like this before. But with this particular case, there's something different about this woman. So he goes and after the guy leaves, he digs her up and he finds out that she's not dead. He actually helps her and he brings her to her tribe, which is where the word forbidden comes in. It's forbidden for them to bring in an outsider.
Mm.
So he brings in this woman, and the other guards are like, "No, you're not bringing her in. Go take her back to her people." Bringing her in here, and it's an old man that just happened to be strolling through late at night. He can't sleep, and he's just strolling through, and he hears the commotion, and he goes up front to see what these little young bucks are arguing about. And he gets up there and he sees this woman, and for him, he doesn't see like a full grown woman. He sees a little girl that's lost,
Mm.
and like the father in him is like reawoken, and he tells Dakota to bring her in, and he's the only one that could give them. Yeah, he's an elder can give them permission to do it. If an elder says it, that's it. It's done. If that's their beliefs. So he tells Dakota to bring her in, take her to the medicine man, and let's see what is her purpose here. And that's pretty much like the first chapter. So now fast forwarding to Rosewood. Rosewood at the end, basically, Molly wants to reopen Rosewood. She wants to bring back the town of Rosewood. Like she wants to restore it, but in a better way, of course. Everything that Dakota and Amali are doing is to reunite. Their goal is to reunite natives and blacks together and
Mm.
to be a united front. And so that's that's the whole thing. So that's what Rosewood is about. But it's gonna be drama because it's Rosewood, and a lot of people don't want Rosewood back. Yeah. So it's
So,
interesting. It's interesting.
well, one thing I love is the fact you use a lot. I guess you use a lot of tribals. I mean, it's just I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
It's nice.
what and and it fits and the story fits. What and I know this is going to be such a silly question, but what what possessed you to do that? 'Cause that is, I mean, I'm loving it, and I'm sure your readers love it. But what? But that's the basis of your story. What made you decide to make that the basis of your stories?
Well, when I for Forbidden, what got me was when I had first started writing with Forbidden, I was actually married at the time. My husband at the time was Native American. And he actually taught me, he's the one who told me the story of um when he says that when they came in here, and it's so weird how to explain this. Um but he explained to me when they made the passage into Turtle Island, North America, there were already people here. And he says they were like family to us. It was reconnecting. So they were already here. We came together and we joined together because, and I says, well, what did they look like? Because I'm thinking, okay, we're just other natives. He says they look like Black Americans. And he's the one that taught me that years ago. And he
Mm,
says, we can't, he goes, and that's a story. He said, that story has been passed down to me from my elders. And it's so, it's not like, he says, so it's just that why a lot of people get angry is because he says they're lost. They don't know their own history. But it's because of what was done. Look at what was
right.
done to us. Like, he says, but yeah, he always told me that. And with my family background, my father's mother is Eastern Band Cherokee. But I never met her, and my father never really got into a whole lot with me, like, so I don't really know a whole lot. Um, because I was married to my ex-husband, married to my ex-husband. My ex-husband actually taught me, and he was a historian and a storyteller. So he used to teach me a lot about his tribe and his culture. He was Seminole. He was Florida Seminole. So I learned a lot um, from him actually. It just like it was like natural to me. I don't know why, but it was always natural to me. And he used to tell me it's probably because of my background. Because on my mother's side also they have like Caribbean, and I always thought we had Congo, but I found out that we don't. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I've been telling people for years I got Congo. Now I find out I don't got no Congo.
Yeah. I love the
So
fact that you just have culture in your stories. That is so beautiful. I
oh,
do love that.
I love culture. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So, so switching gears, you said something earlier in here that a lot of us can relate to. Do you have problems with your character sometimes? And I mean, as
Talking to
far as
not
agreeing, disagreeing, arguing with you, all of the
oh, they just
above.
don't want to do it. Oh, the book ain't gonna happen if they don't agree. They're just. I've tried to. People say, "Oh, I do outlines," and I'm like, "That's wonderful for you. That's nice. I can never do that."
I'm
I
that
try to
one
tell
that
them
can
this is
never
what
do
we're gonna
that,
do.
right?
No, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. No, they're like, well, whatever. We'll see how you do that then.
See, I can plan my story and I put it out there, and I think you can relate to this. If I don't feel right about a certain character doing a certain thing, it's not going to happen. But if I force it, it's going to mess up the rest of the book.
Yes, yes. Okay, and you brought okay, this has been my experience, especially with Forbidden, why it took me so long to do Forbidden. There were things I didn't know that I needed to know to complete the story. That's what I learned from that. The end of the book, I didn't when I got to where I reached a page count that I wanted to reach, or the number count that I wanted to reach, I was like, okay, I got to start wrapping up this book, but I had no clue how am I going to end this book. And I was at the time I was studying the Bible, and so I would go to sleep with the Bible. And this is not healthy, guys, because it's your Bluetooth and your brain and electrons and whatever. But I did this for I did this for a few months. I'm taking a break right now, but I did this for a few months where I would play the Bible. I use a Bible experience because I love how they did the Bible experience.
Oh
Excellent.
yes, I have that.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, excellent. Yes, I would listen to the Bible experience from Genesis to Revelations, and just like it end, I just started again. Actually, I kind of lied. I got obsessed with the Old Testament for a long time, and then I was like, okay, I got to listen to the New Testament. But I was listening to the Old Testament because God, they don't realize God got a sense of humor too.
Yes, he does.
God
Yes.
can be very funny,
Mm.
very funny. But what happened is I started listening to it so much, and I went to sleep with the thought like, I don't even know how to end this book. Well, uh, sometime early morning, middle night, you go in and out, and it's playing in my ear the whole time. But I woke up at this certain passage. I think it was from the book of Zephaniah, and basically it was God having a conversation with one of his prophets, and basically the prophets were saying, um, God said he was going to do something, and the prophet said, "Oh no, no, like no, Father, that's too harsh. That's too harsh, right?" And God said, "Fine, like kind of like fine. Well, I'll raise up the Chaldeans. I think he said. Forgot what it is. I'll raise them up." But what he described was what, if you think about, it's like slavery, and just I don't know. I connected it to what Black Americans have gone through during slavery, like what we've endured. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, like that's scary, and all because of disobedience. We kept wanting to worship idols. I don't know why. We
Right.
kept wanting to worship idols. God got sick of it, So he says, "Fine, I'm going to raise up, these people." And it's like he says they gather up people like sand. It was the way that it was described, and but it hit me. One of the characters in my book was giving me issues. It was Amali's mother. Okay, Amali's mother was not participating. I couldn't understand her. I didn't get what this woman's issue was. She was happy her daughter was alive, but yet at the same time, she even made a comment saying, "I kind of wish she was dead," because she wasn't doing what her daughter's now with these native people, and to her, it's like she's gosh, how should I put it? It's like she was just not where she wanted her to be. She wanted her to be kind of
Right.
like uppity. She sent her, like, her mother struggled and sent her to these elite private schools, had her wanted her she wanted her to marry this, the politician, even though he beat her, even though he tried to kill her. She wanted her to make that work and marry him because
Mm.
he was a good, strong, solid white man, and she would have a great life. Like, that's just how, and I couldn't understand where this camera character was coming from.
But you
But
had to put it in there anyway because it would. I'm sorry, your story wouldn't work
it
without it.
wouldn't happen.
That's how that's how annoying characters can be to you sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And she was like the every other character I was cool with, but she was baffling to me. And it wasn't until the end of the book that one of the guys that basically, I'm just gonna say Amali's father. I'll just leave it as that because when you read the book, you'll understand. But Amali's father confronts the mother, and they have it out one day, and it's kind of hilarious the way he chewed her out. Like, I don't even know where these words came from, but he done snatched the wig off her head.
mm.
And he said, "Stop blocking that signal to the creator." Like, what's like, but he really told her, like, what's wrong with you? Like, he goes, your daughter's alive. She's happy, you know? But just because she's not where she wanted her to be or how she wanted her to be, she's like ready to like write the daughter off.
Uh,
And so
let
he
me
chewed her out. I'm not gonna get into details.
Thank you. Thank you for staying with us with the Office Corner. I have my good friend, which I just had to apologize because I haven't spoken to this young lady in 2 years. Her
It's
name
been
is
a minute.
Deann Mathews, and she is very, man, she has great knowledge, she's talented, and we're gonna talk more often this year. So,
Yes,
but
sir, Mr. Campbell. And thank you for having me back.
then how have you been?
I've been good. Been busy. I mean, I was not planning. So when I was last year, I was working on book 4 and I was not planning book 5, but you know what happens when the Lord has other ideas. So
Yes.
you got to
You
follow
cannot argue.
instructions. So
Right. Oh no, you can't argue. When Lord has other ideas, I dare you to argue.
yeah, exactly. And not see, there are people out there doing it, but I just ain't I ain't that bold. I
Me
don't need
neither.
those kind of problems in my life.
I stay in my lane
I
too.
do
So
not.
so let's get the ball rolling. I actually see a new book. I actually see a new book. Season of Crypto Bull Run for Financial Freedom. Before we get to that, let's talk about how you've been since your last project.
I've been good. The last project, um, since then, of course, between publishing the last one, the whole panorama of isolation has passed by. But God is good. I am a survivor of COVID-19 now. God is good. My parents are survivors of COVID-19. But that's gonna take the pep out of your step for a couple minutes.
Yes.
2022 was kind of rough because of that. I had to kind of be somewhere and sit down. But fortunately, San Francisco was not completely overtaken, unlike other places in the country. So I basically stayed quiet. I wrote the fourth book largely on the Hive blockchain, which I mentioned in the book, and stayed in, did a lot of writing, but really got into the habit of being an everyday publisher, which ended up being a big blessing. So now I'm putting out short stories and content every day. And so now that I'm turning around and doing, being more serious about returning to Facebook and all the rest, I'm kind of like, well, by comparison, I've learned a lot. I've grown. It's all good. It's all good. And everybody's doing well. Everybody survived. So we're all good.
So like that. Yeah, I tend to forget that a lot of us hadn't been talking and we've been sitting down because of COVID. And that's
Yeah.
also why things have been delayed and things like that. So, but like I say, I'm very blessed. And I'm glad you've been very blessed, to get out of it. And we're here talking. So
Yeah.
God is definitely good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because a million people have passed from here since we last talked. God is good, sir. I'm
Mhm.
so glad we're able to have this conversation.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And a lot of us have had some personal hits with that as
Yeah,
well.
family
So
members, churches. It's a lot. That's a lot. But we're here. And Lord spared us to get some work done. And as you're constantly saying on Facebook, I see you on that grind. You just be out here working.
yes, ma'am. But I see you too. When we look at each other, 'cause I see you out there as well. You are always doing something. And but I'm telling you, we can talk. I tell you what, we can talk all day. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. But let's get to this new book, Season of Crypto Bull Run for Financial Freedom. What inspired that book?
Well, I was in church July 20, whatever that fifth Sunday in July, I think it was the 29th. And a whole bunch of my Sunday school students didn't come that day. It was a fifth Sunday. Okay, my flower was trying to leave us. I'll tell you about why that's there in a minute. I'll put that back in a second. But it turned out that one of my mentees, I have she was young lady, was assistant choir director to me. She's about 22 years old, and she asked me a question about Bitcoin. And because I had time, I tried to break it all down to her in about 45 minutes, but you really can't do that if someone's like started. So I said, look, I'll send you some information. And then I sent it to her and then I said, okay, this is part one. So I'm gonna send you a part two. So I was sitting up there like, Lord, what should I send her next? He's like, write your fifth book. Just write your fifth book. Write down everything you know about crypto. And you see it. There it is.
Oh,
That's eventually what happened. It was being able to help this young sister because starting out, I mean, we're all looking at the economy. So we have to take every opportunity to learn how to work with our assets, to learn how to do things. And The other thing that's happening is crypto is the good thing that happens in an election year. Every 4 years, just like there's an election in the United States every 4 years, Bitcoin goes through a process that kicks off a market change. And then 2 years after it does that, then it goes back the other way. So it just so happens that 2024 is one of the up years. And we are approaching the crypto spring.
Yes.
And this is just my little reminder of the fact um, for this half of the year, the crypto spring. Bitcoin halves goes through its halving event in April or May this year. And so we're approaching the crypto spring. So I thought, well, I can help a whole lot of people if I just sit down in August 2023 when no one's thinking about crypto and have it ready. And so that's how this fifth book ended up being here. I launched it on October 30th because the end of the crypto bull run is forecast to be around that time in 2025. So I want to give people 2 full years to get the information.
If you step on it now, you're able to grab some gain before it goes down.
The point is, I wanted to get the book out early because see, here's what happens in all markets. This book happened for the same reason that Bitcoin happened. Presumably, the backstory of Bitcoin is a gentleman by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto looked at what happened in the financial crisis and said, not on my watch. I'm gonna give them a money that the government can't play around with. We're not gonna do this. Not on. Now I don't know how you say that in Japanese, or even how you would say that in Japanese American idiom. But basically, not on my watch. I'm gonna give the people real money. Well, I happen to have, of course, been about 27 and watched people. And if you read the report, 63% of the people that lost their houses were Black women. Because what happened was we got preached into the market really, really late so other people could sell and get out. Well, having found that out, I realized that happens with all new products. People come and talk to Black people at the very end because they want to get out. Big institutions and experienced investors. We don't hear about it till it's a big thing and it's on the news. And in the last crypto bull run, that would have put you in a position of getting in the last 3 to 6 months when everybody who was experienced was getting ready to exit. And I said, well, my Bible says the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I'm going to just go ahead and get involved. Because Jesus can't be wrong, right?
Nope.
So I said, let me get this book out and get this to the people. Because he said, I know it's possible, so we can get in on the front end for once. Because this is missing all this opportunity is ridiculous. People are making millions in this who understand how the cycle works.
You know, it's good that you wrote this because I'm just gonna tell you right now. You have a lot of us that don't understand the crypto market, but there's a lot of us that need to learn about investment and how to have more than one and sometimes two streams of income and savings and things like that. See, how would you approach someone who knows nothing about that? Because see, when we were coming up, we had learned about CDs and FDIC and all that.
Yes, I
Now we're doing
remember.
crypto. So how would you go with someone who doesn't have any knowledge?
Well, I mean, what you basically need to have is just a curiosity. So the way that conversation started was the young lady had a curiosity about Bitcoin. And the next thing I would do is just break it down in terms that people can understand. Bitcoin is a kind of electronic money, but then so is almost all the money you have. If you've ever used a credit card, for example, you're using electronic form of money. You didn't take a $5 bill. You didn't see Abraham Lincoln. You didn't see Thomas Jefferson. You didn't see George Washington. GWAP, George Washington. You didn't see that. But what you did was you made a transaction that was connected to an account that's connected to US dollars. And it's supposed to stand in for US dollars. Well, Bitcoin is another form of electronic money that is backed by its own algorithm. So I would start there because almost everybody has a credit card. And so if you can think of, okay, let's say you had a credit card connected to gold. You had some physical gold, and every time you had made a transaction, someone would sell your gold and pay for the transaction. Bitcoin can be thought of like digital gold. It is literal hard money. It cannot inflate. It's always going to hold a certain amount of value that has to do more with its market price than, okay, the United States has to pay off some debt, so let's print some more money. That's the difference. And that's probably because everybody knows about credit cards, and we all know how inflation has been kicking our, you know.
So I'm gonna maybe roll my eyes on the air. I know exactly what you're
We
talking
all
about.
know.
I mean, so well, I guess my thing is I'm loving the book and I'm loving the potential. It's just a matter of we need this, and it's a matter of pushing it out to where we need it. I mean,
Exactly.
and I don't mean to be exclusive, but it needs to be more inclusive to us because everybody else knows how to use it. Everyone else knows how it works. Everybody else
Actually,
knows how to.
no.
Oh, they
Actually,
really don't.
no. Uh-uh.
No.
You may have never heard of the phenomenon of the crypto bro,
Oh.
but let's just say they're not in our demographic. And we need them for the proper operation of the retail
Mm.
market. But they come in late too, and they get dumped on too. Let me give you
Oh.
some terms that you're going to hear in the next couple of years. You probably never heard of a rug pull, but you probably can imagine walking across a rug and having someone snap it out from under you. So I used to be a moderator in a Reddit group where a lot of people who were in crypto hang out. And every 5 minutes at one point, because I was the only person who would go in and like read the coding that goes with this, every 5 minutes for a minute there, someone was dumping out a Bitcoin, well, not Bitcoin, but crypto related scam on what's called a particular platform. Every 5 minutes, realizing that people do not know how to fundamentally, which is look at what the project is and what it's supposed to do, assess an investment. So people were basically going and throwing their money out on hype. Perhaps you've heard of Dogecoin. That got big for a minute
Yeah,
there.
I've heard of
Every
it.
time Elon Musk opened his mouth, that coin moved. But the problem is, Dogecoin is inflationary, meaning that the amount of Doge it takes to be worth $1 today is not going to be the amount tomorrow. It's going to take more. It's always going to be inflating. It makes United States inflation look like a walk in the park. But because no one knew how to do this, people of other demographics, and then they also did things like they had things leveraged up 1,000 to 1. So for every piece of money that you put in on crypto X, if it went the right way, great, you've just made $1,000. If it went the wrong way, you've lost 1,000. They didn't understand how the cycle worked. So in May of 2022, they were all liquidated at the same time. Bitcoin's value, I think, dropped by about a third in a single day. They don't know what they're doing either. It's not something that you can just get up in the morning without having spent some time educating yourself. That's why I say on my promo videos now, get your crypto education life together. Because if you do stuff on the wrong side of the cycle, it doesn't matter what you do. I know people that are just about to wreck good crypto projects. And I'm sitting up here talking about, well, you could actually go look at the charts and study this. Nothing you're doing is going to work right now. And they are of the other demographics. And nothing will remind you that you are not a master of the universe faster than Bitcoin in a bear market. It'll take 82% of your money. Some of its siblings will take up to 99.
Mm.
It is the ultimate mess around and find out if you do not understand how the cycle works, which is why I'm putting out this book in 2024 and why we'll be talking about something different after, let's say, September of 2025. I will not be promoting this book in 2025. I don't want you to come into the market in October 2025 because I'm going to set you up to get hurt bad. Because you must understand 2 years up, 2 years down. Most people, the vast majority of the world across all demographics, has no idea what's about to happen going up, nor do they have a clue what happens if you stay too long. So it's not just us, it's almost a level playing field. And
Mm.
basically, what I'm trying to do with this book is look, none of us know what we're doing, but God may be black for a reason. So I'm gonna make sure that we get the opportunity to be first at the table too. Because other people will who do know will make information available. So I'm just doing my part to make sure that we also have the information available. And of course, everybody's welcome. But I'm talking to you. I have an interview in Nova Scotia next month.
Hmm. Well,
I'm talking to
so
you.
you getting everybody ready. In other
I'm
words.
trying to. I am not for. I'm not in the taking candy from babies regime.
Mhm.
Let me be very very clear about this. When Dogecoin went through their community, they did not know that you don't do well broadcasting what you intend to do in the market. So I watched experienced investors get their position since they knew how high they wanted coin to go and pick their spots to beat these people down out of that spot. And because folks were stubborn and because they thought they could get that coin to go up there just by the sheer power of their will, they put more money in there and got beat down a second time. And I thought to myself, because I am a human being, I could make a ton of money like this. And the spirit said, I didn't put you in this position to take candy from babies, nor did I put you in this position to watch that happen a second time. I just wanted you to know what was going on. Remove that foot from evil. Because I learned King James growing up. But I realized that's what's going on. Experienced investors. Okay, I'll give you an easier example. This is a tip for everybody in every kind of investment. People love round numbers. So what you do is you don't wait till whatever it is you're looking at crypto gold, if it's under $1 to go to $1. You sell your stuff at 97. Because generally what's going to happen is people finally hit the dollar and the hype is over. And then it falls down considerably below that.
Mm.
So in crypto, this is also true in all assets. There are psychological levels that people want to see happen. And so experienced investors are like, oh, you wanted to go to $1? Cool, I'll sell it at 97. Oh, you looking forward to go to 50 cents? I'll sell it to you at 48. I'll go count my money. Y'all can keep putting money. You can buy it at 48 and wait for it to go to 50 cents. You can buy it at 98 and make it go to 50 cents. But since I got there when it was 7 cents, I just made 14 times my money. You just made 2 cents. But see, new investors don't understand this. The other thing about all investments, I'll make a really easy one. It's Valentine's Day next week. When do you invest in chocolate? Not in February, because Easter is the last big chocolate holiday. When do you invest in chocolate? You invest in chocolate in August. And why do you invest in August? Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, and Easter. Well, crypto is the same way. It has a cycle. A Bitcoin halving starts every 4 years in the spring, approximately 6 months before the American election, general election, if you wanted to kind of peg it that way. When do you invest in it? You invested it in the end at the very end of the bear, if you're an experienced investor. So you invest, and then you wait about 18 months from when that halving event takes place, and that will be to the day in the last two charts, 548 days later, 18
Mm.
months with a little change. Now, of course, it does vary a little more, but we've just kind of been able to note that on the chart since then. So that means that if the halving takes place in April, May, you probably want to head out the door in November and then wait 2 years and start the process again. But if you're not, if you're a newbie, you wait till you heard about Bitcoin on the news. Oh, Bitcoin finally reached, what was the number they were trying to get to last time? Bitcoin finally reached $50,000. It's going to $100,000. And all you heard was 50 times 2 is 100. I'm sitting there like, I bought my Bitcoin at 9,000.
Right.
I don't need it to make it to, it made it to 69.7, I think. I don't need it to make it to 100,000. I'm good. I'm good because I've had long enough to let the market work. Just like if I was investing in chocolate, Easter is March 31st. I would go ahead knowing there was going to be one more bump in chocolate. I would sell it to whoever didn't know any better around February 29th because I've already gotten my Halloween money. I've already gotten my Christmas money. I've already gotten, yeah, I missed my Easter money, but I'm not trying to be an April fool trying to sell it on April 1st because at this
Hmm.
point the market has crested. Maybe I wait till about March 15th. But the point is, experienced investors sell to less experienced investors. And this is why people think crypto is a scam. Because, yeah, if you come in on the wrong end and nobody told you, you're going to feel like you got beat because you did. Our
Mm.
parents played cards back in the day when they said, if you go to a card game and you don't know who the mark is,
Mm.
that's you.
Mm-hmm.
Crypto is that
Yep.
idea on steroids. It really is. If you waited till you heard all the news, you don't know who the mark is,
It's gonna be
that's
you.
you. And that's why. You see it. That's why I'm tired of
Mm.
everyday people, especially us, because I have to start where I am. I'm tired of us being last and least because I know what's happening. Other people are exiting and dumping. Now we've got these big institutions, BlackRock, Grayscale. Now you know they ain't gonna take no loss. They gotta answer their
No.
shareholders. So you already know what's about to go down here if you don't know what you're doing, right? See, it's one thing if little old me takes my, quarter of Bitcoin, 1/10 of a Bitcoin. I don't even have 1/10 of a Bitcoin at this moment. My portfolio, I have a diversified portfolio. But you know that if I'm gonna leave you with 98 cents, you know they're about to dump 48, 50, they're about to dump 48, 50, $60 million worth of the stuff before the end. You know they've looked at the charge. So if you think people got dumped on the last one, y'all do not even understand. The ups are going to be so amazing, and downs, I'm not looking forward to that because I'm not looking forward to watching people. But I did what I could because I don't
Mhm.
want anybody I know to go through that.
I'm gonna ask a very silly question. And no, there is no such thing, but I'm just gonna just call it a silly question. When is a good time to buy your book?
Now, it would have been a better time in January. It would have been even better in December or November, but it wasn't available until October 30th, and there's lag time. This is still a perfect time. The halving doesn't happen until May, April, end of April, May. It's a short book. It's only about, is it 113 pages in paperback? Because there's a little bit different between the ebook and the paperback, and I can't remember. It breaks down very easily. You also have access to a newsletter that's exclusive in there, and you have access to an exclusive newsletter. I'm actually going to be to an exclusive YouTube channel. So people that have read the book can come be like, can you break this down for us a little bit further? And so that comes with the bundle. So if you don't completely understand it, I can do a video explaining it. It also comes with a newsletter for $20 a month. If you come through using the book, you get the link to get the newsletter every month where I break down what I see in the markets every single day. Every 2 weeks, you get to see what I have been looking at and paying attention to understand what's going on for myself. And then I do commentary and break it down more for you. Now, the optimal time to invest, well, let me be careful. If you don't know what you're doing, first rule, and it's in the book, general investment principle number one: do not invest in anything you do not understand. So the first thing you want to do is and there are other good courses out there, like the Cryptocurrency Technical Academy, CT2A. I took that to understand the charts. There's very good courses out there. There's a lot of things that you could do, but this is meant to get you started. This is meant to get you, okay, I understand Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hive such that I could get started. The beauty of the Hive blockchain also is that you can get into crypto and into a very solid community and learn how to operate in community before you then can take that Hive and trade it for Bitcoin and get into the rest of the market. You can learn how to operate where people understand the promise of crypto. That'll get you started. Now, if you're a new investor, I'm just going to put that out there because as time passes, we're going to get this question. Bitcoin and Ethereum. Other coins are wonderful, but if you do not understand how to operate in Bitcoin and Ethereum, like I said, you come in on the wrong side of Bitcoin and you take every dollar you have and you have 20 cents. You get the wrong altcoin and you could have between 5 cents and zero. And if you do leverage on those coins, again, you come in at the wrong place and do the wrong thing on the wrong coin, you're $1,000 down for every dollar you put in. Don't do that. But the bull run is so long that if you buy the book and get educated and understand Bitcoin and Ethereum and Hive pretty well, you'll have time to then take what you've learned and be able to branch out. What I did was I learned Bitcoin and I learned Ethereum. I started really in 2020. And then when I felt bold enough, and I was already on Hive, and when I felt bold enough, I looked at, okay, who's solving problems that exist on Ethereum? Okay, there's coins that are children of Ethereum. Okay, I guess I'll move over into what I call the Ethereum extended family. And then as I learned more and got my feet wet, if you start early, you can catch some of those altcoins. But make sure you know what you're doing and you understand the two big ones. They are the blue chips, they're not likely to let you down. I can't vouch for anything else because altcoins are wild. Something. Woo! It's crazy out here. But yeah, start with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but get your education first. Take yourself a month. At this point, you got time and really kind of learn it. And if you find a YouTube channel that's for the members, then you get to come and ask questions, and I do videos and I explain. So take a month and just do that. Just do that for a while. You'll be okay. It's a
Well, actually,
reasonably priced.
hold on, go ahead, go ahead. You good, you good. But
It's
actually,
reasonably priced.
you already answered my question about how long it take. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah, give yourself about a month. And it's reasonably priced. I left it at the holiday price. It's still the paperback's $9.99 on Amazon, and the ebook is $4.99. I left it at the holiday price. I'll probably leave it there till after the halving. It could go for much more, but I want us to have no excuses. I need y'all to get this book, not because I need the money. I already have my investments, but I want you to get the money so that you can get your investments.
I mean,
Honestly, that's where I am.
and here's my thing. A lot of us really want to go with people that we trust, and you, I trust 100%.
Well, thank
So,
you, Mr.
I mean, so when I buy the book and I get the deluxe version, and so you say I get a newsletter, I get to go to your YouTube channel, $20 a month,
The
and then I'll
newsletter
get.
is $20 a month. You don't need it. That's an add-on for those who really want to get the YouTube channel, of course, is free. It's a playlist I have on my channel that's dedicated for readers of the book. The newsletter you can sign up for if you want to, but what you get is more access to what you're really looking at there is okay, more access to being able to see what I see and think what I think. But if you have questions in the book, I do video content that will then answer you, leave a question on the YouTube channel, and then I answer your question, like I'm doing some filming tonight. So you get opportunity to just ask me questions. The newsletter helps you to see what I see on a daily basis. So I can teach you using video and articles about things in the crypto market because there are people that I listen to help me understand things. So the newsletter gives you the opportunity to kind of walk along with me through the market. But if you read the book and you have questions, the YouTube channel is free. So you just go ahead and park the question over there, and I do videos, and I try to be within a
Well,
week and
well,
answer.
see, well, see, the reason I say that I want to do everything with you is because I need you to talk to me like I'm in kindergarten.
I get that
Talk
a
to me like
lot.
I'm in kindergarten and take me up to high school. That's how I need to learn with this because
Okay.
I'm very interested. I'm very excited about it.
Well, you know, you have access to me always on Facebook. And of course,
Right.
if anybody says, well, I came through with Henry Campbell, that's all they got to say. I mean, all what I can do with you is that if you have people who are in the author's corner who are interested, we can set up a whole separate training.
I would love
I'll
that.
come up with if they come with your imprimatur, we'll just all hop on Zoom and make some things happen. So you just if any of yours say I bought the book and I got it from because I knew Henry Campbell, we'll set up a training and we'll just
Okay.
make it happen for your circle. We can make some things happen.
I'm buying the book this weekend, and I'm starting with that. So, how much is the book? But how much is your deluxe version?
The book comes with the playlist there. You just read the book to chapter 8 or 9. 8? I think chapter 8, and you'll find the link to the playlist is there. And when you buy the book this weekend, you will see the new content that I'm putting out tomorrow. that explains, I'm talking about utility and how you assess a cryptocurrency for what it does. That's the idea of utility. That's there, that's free. You get the link, you use it. In chapter 9, you will find a link to sign up to the newsletter. So that all comes with it. And of course, that's optional, but the playlist is free and it's available to everyone who buys the book.
So I like that. I really love that. And I guess my next thing is, and I'm not telling where you're going to have to talk to like a kindergarten. And I love it because I'm learning new things. How does this ultimately, and I know the market goes down, but does this ultimately help for generational wealth and saving money and
Yes, and here it is. This if now we got people out here trying to start World War III, basically. So just
Mhm.
caveats.
Yeah.
We could roll the clock back. 46 could be succeeded by 45 and become the 47th president of the United States.
Yep.
The United States government really does not want us to have crypto, and they can slam the door shut on us at any time. That's why I'm also
Right.
trying to get people in this time. But the idea
Gotcha.
is every 4 years the cycle repeats. So the same conversation we're having in 2024. I will not be talking about this book in 2026, but I will update it again in 2028 and come back.
Hmm.
So every 4 years, just like the Olympics, da, 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 da. Okay, so you think about, okay, so what I'm gonna learn how to do is, and you can do this with chocolate every year. This is any kind of market that's predictable and cyclical. What you do is we've all heard this, buy low and sell high. And
Hmm.
then you wait and you do it again. And then you wait and you do it again. And you wait and you do it again. Rich people have the habit of positioning themselves to find waves in the market. So crypto is just catching one of the waves toward generational wealth. Now, granted, because it is cyclical, you do have to make your investments. You got about 2 years to do whatever you're going to do with it going up. You take your money out and you wait. You wait a year and a half
Okay.
and you start over. And when we talk about generational wealth, this is something that I know people are teaching their children how to do, because obviously the younger you are, the more 4 year cycles that you're going to get into. Now,
Hmm.
something I do not recommend, but I will be exploring a little bit more because I can't recommend it. I'm not a financial advisor. But something that I look at is, okay, a lot of wealthy people, they make their money in different markets, then they put it in something that gives them dividends or interest, and they wait. And then they leave it there until they're ready, and then they capitalize, and then they put it in dividends and interest, and they wait. So what they're doing is they are stair stepping, whoop, and then whoop, whoop, and then whoop and whoop, and before you know it, given 5, 6, 10, 12 years, you've gone through 3 of these cycles and you've invested at the right place every single time. Yeah, you go, and then you teach your kids. And like I said, you can apply this to different markets. Chocolate comes to mind, but anything that's seasonal in stocks does anything like this. It's the same principle. We just moved over into the crypto market. That's all.
You're getting me pretty excited. So I don't know. I'm ready. I mean, I can't wait to get the books. So so I you just don't know. So what's next for you? You in a little bit of everything. What is next?
Well, right now, like I said, till about January 2025, this is next. I was privileged to get on a list with Tabitha Brown just put out her new book. She's number one. Oprah was featured in People magazine. That's number three. And Season the Crypto Bull Run for Financial Freedom is number 14.
Nice.
So I am out here doing this for right now because the timing is so important. So for right now, what's next? If I were to come back in June, it would still be talking about, okay, we're after the Bitcoin halving and you see things are moving, but you're still not too late, but you need to like buy this now and kind of get it under your hand by about September. Kind of need to do that. And then if you saw me in January, probably I will have found something else. Because I'm not trying to put y'all at, January, February, March, the spring. This time next year, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna get in there, you need to go ahead and get in there because we run out of time. And then if you would have talked to me in the summer next year, I'm like, yeah, no. No, I'll learn something new for us to talk about for book 6. Because nah, you don't you don't want to get into crypto in August 2025. Now you don't
No.
do that.
Now, I don't now, I don't know if you've all been listening, but the point of the book is to buy this right now. So my
Mhm.
next question for you is, where can they buy the books?
Amazon is where you can buy the book. You can buy the paperback or the actually. I'll send you the link so that when you do put this out online, you can add the link to it and make it
Beautiful.
easy for people to do. And like I
Oh,
said, if you have people that purchase this book because they saw it with you and y'all want me to come explain it to you like you were 5 for an hour or two, set it up. We'll make it happen. For
that's not
anybody
a
in the author's
problem.
corner, we'll make it happen.
No problem. Because you definitely have to talk to me like I'm in kindergarten. So, well, but and I am serious. So, well, my next question for you is: besides crypto, is crypto is your only mission right now?
No, I am on a senior housing board and we are serving about 500 seniors in our community, and that takes a lot of my working time. It's not the only mission I'm on in life. And of course, I have my own beautiful parents who are my elders, and I am a publisher. I have 2 newsletters out. One of them's mentioned in the book, the other one's on the Hive blockchain, and I'm publishing every single day. And I'm also putting out music to different composers. I have a lot of stuff going on, but I'm choosing to focus on this because this is not just for me. This is for anybody that can get an opportunity to really make some moves that will really help folks change their situation if we just get focused on time.
Awesome. So, it looks like we got a minute left. You got any final words?
Thank you for your time, Mr. Campbell, and for everybody out there. You've heard about Bitcoin. There's that Bitcoin book. There it is. Please get your crypto education life together. And if you'd like to do it, I'd be humbly thankful if you start with Season the Crypto Bull Run for financial freedom.
Thank you so much. All right.
There we
So
go.
well, thank you for that. So, what do you like and what do you don't like about your work, about your writing?
So I like everything except for the business. So I love arguing with my customers, arguing with my characters. Um, um, everything, the editing, the developmental editing stage, like all those things, the research. Enjoy the research. But what I don't like, of course, is a business because I'd rather be writing than having to market and push my book, and that's why I see where going to a mainstream, like going to the traditional route, I can see the advantage on that part because they take care of that stuff. But yeah, yeah, that's the only thing I don't like is the business side of it.
Yeah, 'cause we first get in the game, we think, yeah, we'll write it. Somebody else take care of it. We're gonna be good. And then we
Yeah,
realize, oh
yeah,
man, there's a lot more work than just writing it.
yeah, yes, yes,
In
yeah. I
fact,
think we go in with that
well,
belief, like they say, you build it and they will come.
right.
They're not coming. They're not coming just because you built it.
And so I tell new authors, writing is the easy part. Everything else is what's
Yeah,
hard.
it is. Yes, yes, yes. That is so true. That is so true.
So, what was the hardest thing about getting your books out?
Trying to find who my audience is, that's like the hardest thing for me. Um, because none of my books I don't think are really under urban fiction, but most of most of my author friends are under urban fiction. So I kind of get swept up in it, but it's just kind of like, and then the urban fiction readers will grab a book and be like, this ain't urban fiction. Like, what the hell is this?
I know how you feel. Definitely
So,
know how you feel with
yeah,
that.
yeah. I feel like I gotta explain myself. Well, see what happened was, but yeah. So my thing is finding my audience is my struggle. So yeah, yeah,
Like I said, that's really a big deal with a lot of us. So no, again,
yeah,
I can definitely relate. So
yeah.
my next question is, yeah, I always remember how I asked this question.
Oh.
Do you ever get to a point where do you ever get to a point where you just get tired of it?
Hmm. Like the not no no not yet at least not yet at least.
The reason I asked
I
because I was
think
asked that one day and it was like, I can't ever get to a point either.
yeah I don't know. I get tired of the the other stuff that come with it, but as far as writing, no,
No.
no, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so, my next question is, well, what's in your future? What would we after Road was released, and you do big on that. What's beyond that?
Well, I actually have a few books. I have Rosewood that I'm working on. I'm working on one called the Chemistry of Love, which was a part of of an anthology, and now I'm writing the standalone. And I have another one called As Quiet as It's Kept. That's another one. And then I'm going to be writing a book. It's also part of a group project called Toxic. So
Ooh,
that's
ooh, I want,
four books that I'm working on. Yeah. I
I want to know a little
also
more
what
about
I
toxic. Go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
heard toxic gonna be good. It's gonna be toxic.
Uh-oh.
I'm pulling out all my toxic characters. They are ready.
Oh, I'm ready to read it. But
Yeah. And then I started a it's called Story Nest. So it's an app for basically it's like an audiobook app, but I use AI. They're AI voices, but they're human voices that have been dubbed so that they're basically recorded. They can say whatever you want it. I use it for my storytelling. I use it for a lot of things actually, and I've gotten pretty good at editing it. And so I've gotten to the point where you can actually sit down and enjoy a whole entire book that is read by an AI, and it sounds really good. It doesn't sound robotic. It doesn't sound I mean, there's certain things you can't avoid. There's just certain glitches that just then you can do about it. But for the most part, it's actually pretty relaxing. So I'm gonna have all my books on there, and I have it open to other authors to put their book on there. And what we're doing is
Mm,
kind of like a profit share. So it's based on the subscriber base. Once we get our subscriber base up, we just divide the profit. It's split with the company and then the authors. So yeah, that's my biggest project actually. So I've been working on that. It's up. It's in the Apple Store. It's not on Android yet. I'm sorry, because you gotta do them separate.
nah,
I'm
don't worry.
sorry.
We'll
Yeah,
catch up one
I'm an
day.
Apple. Yeah. I know the funny thing is, after putting it on Apple, I realized how many Android users there are. They were like, "Oh, I want," and like, "Oh, well, I'm on Android." I'm like, "Crap."
Again, like I said,
So
yeah,
yeah,
because it took us a minute to get through the clubhouse, so we'll make it.
yeah, we'll make it. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I. So those are the things that I'm working on, getting those things out, trying to get more authors onto that platform and into that group. We were doing it where we're dividing it up per person or per author, the profit. but now we're changing it to the book, like per book.
Mm.
So how many books they have on there will determine how much of the cut they get from the profit. So that's our new strategy, because we don't want it where it's just one author with one book, and yet the author that has 20 books.
Right.
I feel like it's unfair. Yeah, I feel like it's unfair.
I understand that.
So, yeah,
So, so
that's
what do you
yeah.
like to do when you're not writing?
Oh, well, when I'm not writing, I'm also in college, so I'm taking chemistry and biology. So those have been my new headaches. So going to college, my daughter, we homeschool her, so she's doing really good. So she don't really need me. I think I kind of will hurt her because she probably knows more than me. She,
Mm.
I don't know. This kid got it. Like she got this.
Right.
So
I
I don't have
understand.
to worry about that. Yeah. But other than that, I also have a company called Greenleaf, and I like to make natural skincare products. I like to make I grew up uh learning about herbs. I started learning about herbs when I was probably 11, and that has been kind of like another passion of mine, is making teas and supplements and skincare products and shampoos and face washes, and that's what I use to keep me looking young and keep me upright.
Nice. Actually,
Yeah.
okay. Actually, I'll need the website for that. And I'll
Okay.
stick that in this
Yeah.
interview. That'll be
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
That won't be a
Yeah. Yeah.
problem at
Yeah.
all. So
Okay.
my next
Sounds good.
question,
Yeah.
since we're talking about websites, how can we get to know you as an author?
Well, I have I have my author website is aprilathomas.com. So you can learn more about me there. You can contact me through there. Other than that, I'm always on Facebook. Not that I'm always sitting on it. It's just it's always on. So if you can't get a hold of me, you could get a hold of me through there, because Messenger doesn't,
Again, that's me as well. So,
right.
so no, you're
But I
free
do.
to
I love
reply.
making right. I love making videos. I love making like trailers. I love making audio, and I like making content. So you'll find me like on YouTube. My YouTube is called Books, Tea, and Drama.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, we're still trying to figure out which direction to go with this one, but Books, Tea, and Drama. And then on TikTok, it's April the Storyteller. Um, and where I just basically I'm mainly just posting like little snippets, like little trailers to the different books that I work on, and my books, all of my books. And yeah, that's my thing. And I make jewelry. I haven't
Oh,
made
see,
in a long time, but I do make jewelry. Yeah.
that's another website I need. See, that's another one. All
Yeah,
right.
right.
So, and where can we buy your books?
So I'm on Amazon, and um yeah, all my books are on Amazon. You could also go to, if you want, like, for me to have like an autographed copy of my books, I do have what I call hybrid. And what they are is the book and the audio is put together. So for
Mm.
example, right now we have Endurance. You get each chapter has a QR code, you scan that and it's going to read the chapter to you. So I
Wow.
call them hybrid books. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Um it's on you can order it directly on my site, and where you get an autograph, and I always give free gifts and give goodies when I send stuff out. Or you can go to Amazon and just order directly on Amazon. Either way. So it's only in the hardcover, not the print or the ebook. So just so you know, I don't want nobody getting mad at me.
All right. I need to do a disclaimer at this point to everybody. This has been a fun interview, but it just seems that I'm tearing away more and more layers to the point where now, I mean, jewelry and and skincare products and oh, before I get to my final question, is there anything else that you do?
um, hmm, that's about it. I torture my family, I guess. I don't know. bug them.
Well, see, it's beautiful because we're authors, but we also do a lot of
Yeah,
other different things,
we do a lot of things. Yeah.
and I love
For my
spotlighting,
yeah,
just
yeah.
different things that we do.
Yeah, my
So
main thing is other than the writing stuff is school. So I've taken a strange interest in science, um, especially quantum, like quantum physics, quantum chemistry. I'm actually thinking about going to major in science and maybe minor in film, because the other thing I'd like to
mm,
do is I would eventually one day would like to have an app where I can take my books and turn them into series. Like, do people I think about people who like to listen to audio, and then people who like me. I'm a movie person. I would love
mm,
to watch any of my books in a movie. I don't know where I'm gonna find these characters, but in
oh,
real
you
life.
will.
But
But
yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you're going to
Yeah.
school for science, that works out because see, think about it, especially if you talk about quantum physics and things like, oh
Yeah.
man, you wouldn't believe the
Yeah.
stories and characters you'll come up with after that.
That's true. The book that I'm working on, The Chemistry of Love, it's based off of um quantum physics, quantum chemistry. That was the root behind it, and I did that because I was trying to get my brain into science so that it'd be easier for me to study it, because if my mind isn't interested, it doesn't want to do it. So, and I gotta pass these two classes.
I
So I
understand.
decided to write these characters as two scientists. The female she's a quantum chemist, and her lab partner is a quantum physicist, and her boyfriend is a lawyer, and he's actually from the book Forbidden. He's one of the characters from my Forbidden book, and she's one of the characters from my Endurance series. So see how they be getting together behind our back.
See, I love that. I love, and so I don't feel bad because I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that with my books. Because you and other authors do it too. Because when
Yes,
I did it, I thought, well, maybe, but then I went on ahead did it anyway.
yeah,
So I'm loving that
it's
we're all
good.
kindred spirits in one way or another. I do love that.
Right, yeah, that is nice. I love it.
So this
Oh,
is the
goodness.
portion of the show now where I always give my authors the final word. You can give shout outs, you can give advice, you can say whatever you want to, but the floor is yours.
Okay, shout outs. Okay, well, my shout outs would be to uh the my friend who got me into writing. Her name is Valerie. I'm just gonna call her Valerie B. Okay. Um, my sister also got to give her a shout out, because in the second part of my life, she she got me into writing. So, and then my other sister, she's actually the one who makes this jewelry. She makes Native American
I'm
jewelry,
going to ask you
and
about that.
I'll give you her website. Yeah, she makes beautiful jewelry. So shout out to
Yes.
her. Her name is Star. Yeah. Um, and then shout out to my friend Tan. If you want some great business advice, and I think this is where authors, we need someone like her who could kind of help get you set up right business wise, because it's not something we care to think about.
Right.
So, she's good. She's very good. Just how we're passionate about writing. She's passionate about business. Her name is Tangler Oates, and her business is called tborders.com. So check her out. It'll really help you get your business organized, and get you kind of on the right path business wise for your book business. So, um, and my words, my pearls of wisdom. That's a tough one. I got lots. um, I guess my I don't know. There's so many wonderful people who gave me great advice throughout my life. Um, learn how to pick your arguments. But I guess an overall thing, since I write about spiritual warfare mainly, is understand who your real enemy is, and never give up. Never, ever, ever give up, because that's the only way you'll lose, is if you give up. As long as you're in there fighting, as long as you're getting up every day and pissing Satan off, congratulations, you are winning. No matter what that looks like, you are winning. So never give up. If you need inspiration, read Endurance, because May is one who went through some stuff. And if you read the whole series, you see how May develops, where she's very like quiet and kind of beaten down, but she develops into this great warrior. So it's a really good story. I you ever feeling down, it's a good thing to read. So that's all I could give you. I mean, I could probably give you more, but we'll be here forever.
Oh, it doesn't bother me at all. I was going to say though, before we wrap, I've been doing this for 15 years, the Author's Corner, and you and so many other authors. One thing I didn't know until about maybe 2 or 3 episodes in is you guys inspire me. You
Oh,
know, I mean, I'm already an author, but yet I love hanging out with other authors, love talking to other authors,
yeah,
and I love learning. I still learn. With authors, we learn every day. So
yes, yes.
I really do appreciate you most definitely for
Oh,
coming on.
I appreciate you. I'm
No.
glad we connected.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So and this will not be the last time we speak though.
Oh, good, good.
All right.